What's good, family? I'm exhausted right now. I've been working so much, but it's been really heavy on my heart to make this video. So I just really want to do this. I want to preface it by saying a couple things. Number one, it's going to get deep. So if you're not into that, just keep scrolling. Number two, do not ask me if I'm okay. I'm absolutely fine. I think a lot of times when I get on social media and I say anything about my life, obviously it's met with a lot of opinion. And so I just want to say if I am getting on social media and talking about my life, it's because I have already gone through whatever trials and tribulations I'm speaking on, and I'm in a good place. I'm never going to get on social media and talk about something that I'm currently going through, because that's just not my style. So just want to let y'all know that I'm good. This is a positive video, but I do want to like go through a testimony of some difficult things that I've been through. And the reason why I ever get on social media to talk about something that I've been through is not because of me. It's because I think that it will help somebody. It's not because I'm looking for help myself, but it's more so to inspire somebody, tell my story and the things that I've been through in the hopes that like it'll help even one person who might be going through something similar. Because as much as we all try to make it seem like we have it together in life, we all go through things, right? And we all need some form of encouragement, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. That's the career field that I work in now as a therapist, is to help others. It's something that I've always found of importance, and so that's why I might get on social media and like say something about what I've been through, is for that reason, to help somebody else. Cool. All right. So being tired, y'all gonna have to bear with me. Like I said, I've been working a lot, but I'm gonna try my best to get through this, make it cohesive and chronological, and make it make sense. But if it doesn't, hey, I tried, all right? Because I ain't recording this again. All right, so over the past couple years, life has been difficult, more or less. Um, and I've been struggling financially, like, I'll be honest, over the past, several years, but really the past couple years in particular, were really difficult for me. You know what I'm saying? And where I'm at now, I'm in a totally different place. And so another point of this video is to just give God some glory. Like, I feel like he deserves it, like God has done so much for me across the span of my life, but in the past couple months, weeks, he's done exceedingly and abundantly. And so I just want to give God that praise. And I wanted to take you guys through the testimony of what I've been through. So like I said, the past couple years were difficult for me. When I moved to LA when I was 17, I had dreams of being an actor, and that was something I had pursued throughout my time there. I have an agent. I've had an agent all those years, and I've auditioned for some really cool movies and TV shows, a lot of them, more than most people probably know. Like, I've had a ton of auditions for some amazing projects, but they just didn't pan out, and that was in part probably because I waited too long to take acting classes. I was something I was really scared to do for whatever reason, and when I finally did do it towards the end of my career, like, I realized that like where I thought I was as an actor and where I actually was, there was a huge gap. And it's not to say that I wasn't talented. I think naturally I'm a talented actor, but acting and auditioning are two different things, and I think that's where I had a deficit, was my auditions. I just learned so much after I started taking class about the things that I should have been doing in my auditions, and so I feel like had I done that earlier, maybe things would be different. But hey, that's not my story. That's not the case. And so throughout my time in LA, pursuing that career in acting, it wasn't lucrative for me. I spent a lot of time and energy invested into that, and I didn't get a huge return from it. I got a chance to do some cool commercials and music videos, some smaller scale modeling gigs, but I didn't have the success that I wanted to have to become like, a successful working actor. And so to supplement my income, I would take on hospitality gigs or roles, as a server, as a bartender, to try to get by, and that was great in the sense that it's very lucrative in terms of the tips that you make, but at the same time, it's not fulfilling. And a lot of those environments are very toxic. Managers treat you like crap. And the reason that was so difficult for me is because You know, I went to school as a backup plan to be a therapist while I was in Los Angeles. I went to grad school and got my master's degree. So I knew that I was capable of so much more, but I was pursuing this dream of trying to be an entertainer, right? And working in restaurants was great because it offered the flexibility for me to be able to leave at the drop of a dime, or if I didn't want to go to work the next day because I had a last minute audition, or if I needed to be on set, I could do that and just have somebody pick up my shift. And so that's the reason why I pursued that type of work. But it was tough on me mentally. Um, in addition to supplementing my income with hospitality work, I also worked on set at certain points full time doing background acting. And that was great because I got to learn a lot. I got to be in the environment. I'm a part of the SAG-AFTRA union. And so, you know, I was compensated well, more or less, you know, for what I was doing. And it helped me get by, but long term, it wasn't fulfilling. And it was probably an even more toxic environment sometimes on set when you're showing up as a background actor. You get treated like crap. They don't care about you. You're nobody to them. You're just a number. And I won't go into specifics, but it was just tough on me mentally knowing that I had a master's degree and I was capable of so much more, right? And I did that for years, all in the hopes of, you know, pursuing that dream of being an actor. And so after so many years of me kind of realizing like it's not happening, you know, I became discouraged, you know what I'm saying? I think rightfully so. I mean, I could have, you know, had a bit more positive outlook and done a lot of things differently, but that's not my story. That's not where I was at the time. In hindsight, you know, obviously I would do things differently, but in that moment, you know, that was my reality, is that I was feeling very discouraged. And so I started to try to come up with other ways that I could attain the lifestyle that I wanted, that I knew that I deserved and that I was capable of, and that I see my peers living out, you know, the ones I grew up with, that I knew I was just as smart as. And I didn't want to be a therapist at the time just because in grad school I didn't enjoy the experience of being a therapist at all. Like, I actually despised it. So I was just trying to figure out any other way to make it, basically, without using that degree, um, to where I could be comfortable. And so I started trying to come up with, you know, different investment strategies and businesses that I could pursue to be financially stable. And I tried a few different investment strategies and try to start a few different businesses, and they just didn't pan out. And sometimes that's the way that life works, right? Like, you try and you fail, you know. And I did. I tried and I failed. You know, I don't even know if I want to get into the details of like all the businesses that I tried, but you know, I tried like real estate, I tried stock investing, day trading, I tried drop shipping, I tried to set up a business with a family member. And in a few of those instances, it was just I was working with people who were greedy and they played me and I lost a lot of money. In other instances, it was just a case of me not being consistent. You know, I even tried digital marketing at one point, and none of it just stuck for me, you know. And I invested a lot of time, money, and energy into those things, but again, no return. In a lot of cases, I lost a lot of money. And the reason why all of those things was so difficult for me is because I just felt like very judged by people. I felt like judged by the people close to me, my friends, my family, my managers, at work, even the staff in the building that I lived in. I felt like a lot of people just knew that I was struggling financially, and they judged me for that. And that's understandable, but for me it was difficult because I knew like I had a master's degree and I could be doing better, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I invested a lot of time and money into that degree too, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I wanted to be an actor. And so I was even, you know, doing those business ventures still with the hopes that like once I got financially stable, that like I would focus on art, you know? I love art. Like, I've been passionate about art since I was little. Like, I've always been in some sort of choir or theater group or dance group performing, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's me. Like, people who really know me, a lot of y'all are acquaintances, you know, y'all don't know me that well, but people who really know me know that like it's always been art, you know, since I was a little kid. um so moving forward in this story, you know, I was just struggling mentally, feeling judged and whatnot, and I was lost. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going. I was dead broke. And so one of the last ventures that I tried was Airbnb. And now just to back up a little bit, during COVID, you know, I was actually doing well financially before that. Like, I was working on set doing background acting, but on commercials that pay a lot more than TV background. And so it wasn't the dream, but like I was doing well. I was living in my dream apartment on the 27th floor downtown, luxury building, fully furnished, and like I was chilling, like, you know what I'm saying? But then once COVID hit, like work shut down. I couldn't work on set at all. And I would sometimes like do Uber, you know what I'm saying, like as supplemental income as well. But like I couldn't do that because I was scared for my health and I wasn't sure, you know, if that was going to be a safety concern. And then restaurant shut down as well. Like I couldn't work in restaurants, so I just wasn't making any money. So I ended up having to move out of that place, and I moved into a more affordable apartment with my ex. And you know, that's a whole separate story, but we ended up breaking up abruptly. And obviously no relationship, you know, ends like with the plan to break up, you know what I'm saying? But that really blindsided me. Like I really did think that we would be together forever, and then, you know, we were together one day and the next day we weren't. And then I had to bear that financial burden of paying for that apartment by myself, which I wasn't prepared to do, you know. In hindsight, I should have like prepared myself for that, but like, you know, I was just living in the moment and I made a mistake, you know. I made several mistakes. And I guess that's gonna be a recurring theme in this narrative. And so I find myself financially stressed again, and I decided to, after some time, put that apartment on Airbnb and do a roommate situation so that I could save some money. The first roommate situation, I got treated like crap again. I got attacked by their dog. It was nasty. They had a litter box in the bathroom, and they just treated me like I was a guest in their home, but in a bad way. So I ended up leaving there. I went to a better looking place, you know what I'm saying? And I thought it was gonna be cool. Again, didn't vibe with the roommates. It was clear that they didn't want me there, but they were taking my money every month. And long story short, I ended up getting the heck up out of there and moving to a more expensive place just so that I could have peace of mind and live by myself again. My apartment was still on Airbnb because I didn't even like that building either. Like there were so many issues with me living there. So I thought I would like, I thought I was positioning myself to be in a better place. Um, I decided that I was going to become an Uber Black driver so that I could work for myself and I didn't have to deal with like working under anybody in management and all that stuff anymore. And so just to give you some more background on that, after me and my ex broke up, I was in a series of situationships that were not like really serious with a couple different people, and each one of those were traumatic in their own right. And one day I go to my garage and I was driving a Mustang convertible. I loved that car. It was sick. I had put a lot of money into it to refurbish it so that way it could like last me a good while. Like it was paid off already. And so I wrapped it white. I had interior red leather seats. I put a Tesla style screen in it and it was like good to go. You know what I'm saying? And one day I get to my garage and the roof to my convertible is ripped in 3 different places. And so I'm not sure if it's somebody that I used to date or whatever, but I didn't have insurance at the time that happened because, you know, I was like still struggling financially, and I had to pay $2,000 to get it fixed. So I hustled. It took a couple months for me to like put that money together, but I got my car fixed. I was happy. 2 weeks later, I'm driving to work, I'm a block from work, and somebody hits my car and totals it. So now I don't have a car. I'm super stressed trying to figure out how to get to work, and just the the amount of hours I work. At this time, I'm bartending at 2 different spots, and I think this just the stress of it all. Like, one day I like ended up like going off on my manager, and like about a month later they decided not to keep me after my probationary period, which was to be expected, and I don't think it was necessarily just because I went off on my manager, but just I wasn't doing well at the job. I was really stressed out. Like, I didn't have a car and I was working a lot, you know what I'm saying? And so after that, that's when I decided, like, you know what, I'm just gonna try to become an Uber Black driver, so that way I don't have to work for anybody, like I said. So hit up my mom and I was like, yo, can you like co-sign for me to like get a luxury vehicle so I can do this, blah blah blah. It works out. I get approved for the car. I buy a 2021 Range Rover. I'm mobile now. I can get back around, and I'm like, cool, this will work. I did a lot of research, honestly, like before I made this decision, but somehow, like, I did not find out that to be an Uber Black driver, you have to own the car outright. You can't be financing it, which I was financing it. And so I found out that like you have to get the car commercially registered, you have to register as a TCP driver and some other things, and I couldn't do those things, so I couldn't become an Uber Black driver. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got this car payment now that's expensive, and my living situation is kind of like unstable, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I found myself in a situation where just I couldn't afford my day-to-day expenses. Like, I didn't want to like cancel on my Airbnb guests. Like, they had like booked the place for several months, and so it just morally or ethically, whatever you want to call it, didn't feel right to be like, hey, like, can I get back in my spot? You know what I'm saying? So I just decided like I was just gonna like suck it up and like sleep in my Range Rover, right? Until I like paid off my debts and like figured out what I was gonna do to get back on track. And so I did that, and it was fine for the most part. Like, I was happy doing that. Like, you know what? I shouldn't say I was happy, but like I was chilling. Like, life was still normal, more or less. Like, I would wake up in the morning and go to the gym every day, and so I was working out a lot, and I would shower there, and like I had my routine. And the only time I had an issue was like the first morning I woke up, somebody was trying to break in, which was obviously very dangerous. But besides that, like, I was cool, switch spots, and I was good. One night my buddy hits me up and he invites me out. So we go out and we're turning up and we meet somebody else and we're vibing, and I end up going home with that person that night. And I didn't find that person attractive. You know, I will say, like, okay, I wasn't attracted to the person myself, but the person was a very attractive person, just not my type, right? But because of like the alcohol and everything, like, things ended up happening that I did not expect to happen. And I found out a few days later that I had to be concerned for my health after that encounter, right? I'm letting it all out on the table for y'all, which I don't normally do, but here we go. All right, so I'm very stressed at this point. I'm strapped financially. My living situation is in the air, and now I'm like, I gotta worry about my health too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at a very, very low point in this moment, and I'm depressed, yo. Like, just like, tell it like it is. Next day, I get a call that I'm gonna receive a settlement from the accident of my Mustang, and it's a good chunk of change. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna book a flight and I'm gonna hop on a plane and go. A lot of people don't know, like, a lot of the times when I travel, it is a coping mechanism just to deal with like whatever I'm dealing with in life. Cause like anytime I travel, like, that makes me happy. That's my happy place, or whatever you want to call it. Like, when I go on a trip, like, it's like all my like worries just melt away, And so that's why I travel a lot, in addition to loving travel, you know what I'm saying? So, man, this tiredness is really kicking in, but I'm trying to push through. So, yeah, I booked a flight to Brazil, and it really helped me to like recenter myself and refocus on God and to get my mental health together. I stayed there for a month and it had its ups and downs, but for the most part, it was a great trip, and I felt better when I got back. And so, I talked to my family, and my mom was kind of like, just come back home, you know what I'm saying? And so that was something I never pictured myself self doing. It was something that I never wanted to do, but I decided to like swallow my pride and do it because I knew that it would be the best decision for my future, being that like so many things in my life were up in the air, right? And so the day I got back from Brazil, put myself in storage and moved down to San Diego, right? So I'm still doing the Airbnb thing, and so that's making me a little bit of money. It's not like, like super lucrative, but it's not a total flop like the rest of the businesses that I've tried. And so, you know, I moved to San Diego, and I'm like, what am I gonna do next? And I decide, you know what, I'm just gonna use my degree and become a therapist. Like, it's not something I really want to do, but like, I'm gonna suck it up and do it. So, started applying for jobs, and with 3 months, I landed a job as a therapist at a homeless shelter here in San Diego, right? And this is my first 9 to 5 job. Like, that was one of the main reasons why I didn't really want to do this, because I've never worked in that type of environment. I've never worked from 9 to 5. Like, I've always done flexible gig work, and that is very like conducive to my personality and like having variety, so I was just kind of like worried, like, how is this going to work out for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I am a very smart individual. It's not that I knew I could figure it out, but it was just like, mentally, how is it going to be for me just having to be at the same place every day? But turns out things was actually good. Like, I've had some issues at work, but like, for the most part, like, I'm a good therapist. I'm a professional person, and despite some minor differences with certain coworkers and whatnot, like, I really got along with my manager, and things went well, which was a blessing. um and so I continued in my role, and last Friday was 6 months at my job, and I got the word today that I have been promoted to assistant program manager. So that's huge for me. Like, like, I feel incredibly blessed, because there is not a single instance where I imagine that 6 months from my start date that I would be promoted to this position. I was hoping to get a little tiny raise or something, but like, assistant program manager, like, wow. And so I just really had to come on here and give God the glory, because where I was at in January and where I am now, like, two completely different places. Like, my my expenses related to my income just completely different. Like, I'm completely less stressed, you know what I'm saying? And I just really can see like what's in store for me in the future. Like, the first step is assistant program manager, but if I continue down this path, soon I'll be program director, and I'll be moving on to a different environment, a different program, and it's just up from here. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to make this video to encourage, even if it's just one person, because like I said, we all go through things, and maybe there's one of you guys that's out there struggling right now, and you don't know what's what, you don't know what's in store for your future. And I hope that this story can help inspire you to just continue to keep going and keep grinding it out and trusting God. Maybe one of you, has been planning on connecting God, but you just keep putting it off. You've been busy, you keep forgetting. Like, this is like your sign to really like start reading your word every day. Like, get in that word and start like trying to like live out your purpose in God, and like being obedient to his will. Like, and I'm not saying this as like a preacher or as a teacher. Like, I'm just like sharing my story and trying to inspire you, but like, I still make mistakes, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying that I'm a great Christian, because I'm really not. Like, I have so many things to work on, you know what I'm saying? And like, a lot of y'all probably know that too, but I'm not embarrassed to say that like, I'm still out here trying, and I really see the like fruits of my effort. Like, you know what I'm saying? And even if like, you're trying, and then like, weeks down the road, you make a mistake, you do something wrong, like, you get back on that horse and you keep praising God, and you keep like, reading that word, and like, you 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 continue to like show God that you're for him, because God knows that none of us are perfect, and that we're all gonna continue to make mistakes, but he still loves us. That's why Jesus died on the cross for our sins. We make mistakes, but he shows us that grace, and that's why I love God so much, because he's a gracious and forgiving God, and I aspire to be like Jesus. I want to be more forgiving and to love others, you know what I'm saying? And so I really just wanted to come on here and like share this message with you guys, because I'm just really incredibly like grateful for like how much my life has changed, and I know it can happen for any of you who are struggling right now or might be struggling. Um, you know, I also want to encourage you guys to just grind, you know what I'm saying? Like, in addition to like my therapist job, I still like work at night, like doing hospitality gigs just to make that extra money. Oh man, my phone died, so I'm about to wrap this up. But yeah, I was just saying, you know, like I'm not taking the fact that I don't have much expense right now for granted. Like I'm still out here grinding, you know, working 2 jobs. So if you gotta go get that second job, if you gotta go back to school at night, like I know some of y'all got kids, and like I don't know what it's like to be a parent, and I can only imagine how difficult that is. And I like hats off to every single one of y'all, but you know, whatever it is, wherever you have the capacity to be greater, like put the effort into that and like grind, like, you know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. Like, rest when you can, still take care of yourself. Like that's a top priority, for your health and whatnot. But like, if you have the ability to do more, do that, you know what I'm saying? And it'll pay off. Like I know in 2 years from now, like I guarantee like I'm gonna be crushing it, like I know it. And so I'm putting that out there for all of y'all as well. Like we're gonna crush it together, and we're gonna go on to better and greater, you know what I'm saying? And I forgot to say earlier that another huge blessing, I mentioned, you know, I had that health concern at that time. When I got back, you know, I did what I had to do, and I found out that like everything's fine, and I don't have anything to worry about in terms of that health concern. So that was a huge blessing, and that's just another testament for how God will like care for you and keep you even though you don't deserve it, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm so grateful because I was very stressed, you know, and I'm not anymore. So I just thank God for everything that he's doing for me. I pray for each and every one of you all that you be blessed, that you be healthy, and that you be prosperous. If you made it this far, you're a trooper. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that at least one of you guys are inspired. And if you need anything, if any of y'all need anything, or sorry, anyone or someone rather to talk to, I am here. Hit the DMs, and I'll try to help you in any way that I can. Stay blessed, y'all. Much love.